Students, this is part one of a two-part video series with the finals prep packet. This entire packet is due, look very closely, front to back is due for A Day on the 23rd and B Day on the 24th. So first off, this packet is due 5/23 for A Day students, 5/24 for B Day students. The final will consist of three parts. Part one will be an essay. The essay will constitute 7% of your finals grade, not your overall grade, but your grade for your finals. That essay is going to be due 5/23 for A Day and 5/24 for B Day students. On that same day, you'll have an in-class, open-ended questions portion similar to what's in this review packet. Again, that's happening on 5/23 for A days, 5/24 for B days. Then, during the week of finals, whatever the date is, the week of finals week, so that's, take a look at this schedule because it changes. During finals week, you will have a multiple choice final. And for that multiple choice, let me come on over here. It will be 50 multiple choice questions, very similar to the test-generated questions in your packet. So that date will be whatever is your scheduled time here. Most common question is, will I be able to use a note card? Here's the rule about the note card. You mean to create two note cards because you're allowed one for the open-ended final and one for the multiple choice final. I will collect them both times. On those note cards, anything from the memorize this pages in your packet or the my best friend is allowed. Worked out examples or anything from any word problems from this packet is not allowed. If you choose not to use a note card, you will earn 2% extra credit on that portion of the final. Now, that's not a lot of extra credit, but if you have a very high grade in this class, that might be motivating to go from a B+ to an A- or something of that nature. But please, before you make the decision to go without a note card, let me scroll through what you have to have memorized. Now, how will I grade this packet? The packet itself, there's the multiple choice prep portion. You get 20 points for showing the work and 10 points for correcting the work. That means if you don't go back with a red pen and mark every problem correct or incorrect and revise the ones you got incorrect, you're going to lose 10 points. The open-ended questions are 20 points for each section. So there's times 2, that's 40 points. That's a total of 100 homework points. That's going to be due, again, on 5/23 for A days, 5/24 for B days. Here's a list of things you want to bring with you to the final. Now, if you go with a card, anything on these pages, these memorize this pages, on the left you see my best friend, on the right you see quad family tree, and then here's our circles unit, left and right, and then here's our most recent unit, our area and solids equations. So from these 6 pages, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anything on these 6 pages is fair game for your note cards. But they need to be handwritten, and 2 of them, I will collect them each individually on your test days. Now I'm going to work myself through here the circled video problems, part 1 and part 2. So let's take a look here. Our very first problem. Follow with me. This is the multiple choice prep. This is from Unit 5 and Unit 6. So problem number 2 says, isolate and solve for the variable. First thing we want to do is we're going to follow PEMDAS. So starting with the parentheses, we're going to distribute. Follow with me. Next, so we have 3x plus 9. 9, we got the minus sign, so you have minus 72x equals 9 times 1 is 9, minus, again, 72x plus 3. All right, now we're going to collect like terms. So I'm going to circle everything with a variable. Make sure you get that minus there. And I'm going to underline anything that's not a variable. The idea is to get the variables on one side and the non-variables in the other. First, we're going to subtract these. So I have negative 72 plus 3. So technically, that's going to be negative 69x plus 9 equals 9 minus 72x plus 3. We're going to collect these guys. And end up with negative 69x plus 9 equals, that's 12 minus 72x. I want my variable to be positive, so I'm going to take this negative 72 over here. So plus 72x plus 72x, these cancel. I end up with, this is going to be 3x plus 9 equals 12. Now I'm going to take that 9 over to the other side. I end up with 3x equals 3. And of course, x equals 1. If you want to be absolutely sure that that's the correct answer, you can take that 1 and plop it in wherever you see x, and it should balance the equation. That's the ironclad way of making sure that this is true. Taking a look at number 4, grafting of a line, an absolutely essential skill. The first way is we're going to do using intercepts. So I'm going to do this one where I have a 0 in the x and get something for y, and then this one, a 0 in the y and get something for x. So 0 in the x, so pretend the x goes bye-bye, and we have 5y equals 10. If I were to divide both by 5, I'd get y equals 2. Okay, now let's do the other one. Now I'm going to put a 0 in the y, so say goodbye to the y. I'm going to divide everything by 3. So obviously that's 10 over 3, which is approximately 3 1/3. Now another way to do this is to change it to y equals mx plus b, which I'm going to do that as well. So I have 5y plus 3x minus, or excuse me, equals 10. Write that out. Now circle the y. The goal is to get y by itself. So to do that, I'm going to minus 3x minus 3x. So I have 5y equals negative 3x plus 10. My goal is to get to y equals mx plus b. That's where I brought the x towards the front. I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5. And my final answer is y equals negative 3/5 x plus 2. Now, let's go ahead and graph that. Y equals mx plus b. Our b here, which is our y-intercept, is positive 2. So that's 0, 2. That's right there. And now I know it's negative, so I know my line has to go down from left to right. So my rise and my run is 3, 5. So I go down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's helpful to go both ways. And now what we're going to do is just string our line through this. So there's our line. Now let's take a look at your intercepts. 0, 2 is right here. So we know that intercept is correct. And then 3.5, 0 is approximately, or 3 1/3, excuse me, right there. And we know that one's correct as well. So you can use the intercepts if you choose to. Okay, it says, find the missing side of each triangle. Leave your answers in simplified radical form. Well, let's look at what we have. We have two sides of a right triangle. We need a third side. So look at your my best friend. We have two sides of a right triangle, and we need a third side. If you look at the my best friend, whenever you have two sides and you need a third side, what are you going to do? That is Pythagorean Theorem. Leg squared plus leg squared equals hypo squared. Now we're going to circle, plug, chug. Leg, I come up here. This 6 is my one leg, so I go 6 squared plus the other leg, 10 squared, equals the hypo, which is x squared. Notice I want the answers in simplified radical form, so be careful using a calculator here that you just don't punch numbers in and get a decimal. Okay, so we have 36 plus 100 equals x squared. So I have 136, and then I square root. Now you need to break it down and see what you can break down, because it says in simplified radical form. Well, I know 2 goes in there, so let's at least do 2. So I'm going to put a 2 here. 2 goes into 13 approximately 6 times with 1 left over, and I have a 16 there, so that's 68. I can break that down. Now it's a little easier. This is going to be 2 and 34. I can still break that down as well. That's 2 and 17. And then we're done. Let's see what we can pull out. I have one set of 2's to come out. So I have a 2 on the outside. And then look what's left. I have 2 and 17, and they have no date, so they stay inside. So the complete simplified answer here is 2 root 34. All right, he says, find the missing sides, leave your answers in simplified radical form. Well, let's see what we have here. Look really carefully. We have here a 30, 60, 90 triangle on here, and over here we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So the very first thing we should be doing is at least writing our charts out. So for the 30, 60, 90 chart, short leg, long leg, hypo. Whatever the short leg is, the hypo is double. The long leg is whatever the short leg is times root 3. That's your 30, 60, 90. You should write that down. In a 45, 45, 90, the legs are automatically equal, because if you have 2 equal sides, so whatever the leg is, the other is leg, and the hypo is whatever the legs are times root, excuse me, not 3, 2. So there's your charts. If you don't have this memorized, this should go on your memorize this card. So let's analyze what we first have here. This 10 root 2 is across from the 60, so that 10 root 2 is in the long leg position. So we're right here, so I'm going to write that out. The long leg equals whatever the short leg is times root 3. So let's plug in what we have. we can take this 10 root 2, and it is the long leg. So we're going to plug it in there on the left. So I have 10 root 2 equals whatever the short leg is times root 3. So I'm going to solve for the short leg. I'm going to do that by dividing by root 3. So I have 10 root 2 over root 3 equals the short leg. Problem is there's a radical down below, which we can't have. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by root 3. And we're going to end up with 10 root 6 over 3 for the short leg. So this is 10 root 6 over 3. Now, we go here, take that, and to get that right there, we times by 2. So I'm going to have 10 root 6 over 3 times 2. That 2 goes times the 10, so I have 20 root 6 over 3 is my hypo here. 20 root 6 over 3. That means this leg is also 20 root 6 over 3. So now we have a leg in the 45, 45, 90. So I have 20 root 6 over 3. And to get to the hypo, we times by root 2. So that's where we want to go. So we're going to times by root 2. So I'm going to times this by root 2. And see what we get here. So we have 20 times, I'm going to break down the 6, 2 times 3, and then we're going to add another root 2, and we're over 3. If you look really carefully, we have 2 2's, so that means we can pull those out as a single 2. Whenever you have your date, it's going to come out. So I'm going to have 20 times 2 root 3 over 3. Now we just clean this up. So our final answer that goes right here is going to be 40 root 3. That's too fat. Hang on. Root 3 over 3. That's going to be our x. So just use those charts on the right. I did the hardest one. The other 3 are easier. If you need help with these, come in for extra tutoring. Okay, let's look and analyze what we have here for 14. For 14, we want to find the missing. And since we have an angle and a side, anytime you have these 3, you have a right triangle. And in that triangle, you have one angle or more, other than the right angle, and you have one side. This combination means it's a SOHCAHTOA problem. So we're going to go have, need, do. Now we label. This is the opposite side. This is adjacent. This is going to be the hypo. I'm going to pause, let you catch up here. We have the opposite side. We need the hypo. So look at what's going on here. We have an OH combination. So you ask yourself, what goes with OH? And it's sine. So always write your equation out. It is sine of theta equals opposite over hypo. Do not grab your calculator till x is by itself. We're going to put this over 1. Now we're going to circle plug chug. Sine of theta, 43. So I'm going to come over here and write sine 43 degrees, put parentheses around that, over 1, equals opposite, which is 10, over hypo, which is x. Stop. Do not grab a calculator. Do not grab a calculator until x is by itself. Right now, x is in a proportion. Now we cross multiply. We end up with sine 43 times x equals 10 times 1, which is 10. Don't touch the calculator. X is not yet by itself. We have to divide by sine 43. Keep that a parentheses around there. So now we have x by itself. X equals whatever 10 is divided by the sine of 43. Now x is by itself. Now you can grab a calculator. So watch carefully what I do up here. I'm going to go 10 divided by the sine of 43 equals 14.66, rounded to the tenths, 14.7. So our x equals 14.7 here. That is our hypo. So, couple rules of thumb. You use this when you have a right triangle and one angle and one side, SOHCAHTOA. Have, need, do. Write the equation. After you write the equation, it's circle, plug, chug. Do not touch your calculator until x is completely by itself. When x is by itself, then grab a calculator and do your number crunching. Round your answer to the tenth place. Okay, here it says find the measure of the indicated angle. So when you're looking for the angle, that's when you use the inverse side. So let's write those out. Inverse sine, opposite over hypo, gets you an angle theta. Inverse cosine, adjacent over hypo, gives you an angle theta. Inverse tangent, opposite over adjacent, gives you theta. Those are called your inverse operations for SOHCAHTOA. You use them only when you're looking for the angle. So what we have here, let's label. From that angle, we have the opposite, and here, this is the hypo. So I have an OH combination. That means I'm going to use this inverse. So I write it out. Inverse sine, opposite over hypo, gives me the angle theta. So inverse sine, my opposite is 46 over 52. Gives me my angle theta. Now calculators work a little different. Some of your calculators, you hit shift sign, 46 over 52 equals. This calculator, I'm going to go 46 divided by 52 first. Then I hit inverse sine, and you get the degrees. Round it to the nearest whole degree. You get 62.2. So it's going to be 62 degrees. So when you're looking for the angle, that is the only time you use those inverse functions. In number 22, it says find the measure of angle x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep x, because you want to be very careful to read. You're not looking just for x, the variable here. It's angle x, which is this guy right here. Now you ask yourself, what do we have? We have a quadrilateral. And the most simple thing you need to remember is that all quads sum 360. Just like triangles sum 180, quads sum 360. So I have 4 angles here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have to add up to 360. So, circle, plug, chug. I have one angle here, W, which is 108, plus angle X, which is 89x plus 1, plus angle Y, which is 86x minus 1, plus Z, which is 78x minus 1, equals 360. Take a moment and write that down. This is a really easy problem as long as you don't get lost in your algebra. As long as you're on one side of the equal sign, all you do is collect. So I'm going to circle all my x's. And I'm going to underline all my non-x's. And be very careful collecting. So I'm going to collect 89x plus 86x plus 78x. So 89 plus 86 plus 78, I get 253x, 253x, plus, I have 108, plus 1 is 109, minus 1 is back to 108, minus 1 again is 107, equals 360. Now we're going to minus 107. I have 253x equals by minus 107 here, I have to borrow. This is 2, that's 5, that's going to be 3, 5, and 1, 253. So now I divide by 253, and I get x equals 1. You're not done. Be very careful. That's the variable x. But we're being asked for the angle x. And that angle x is going to be 89 times 1 plus 1. So that's 89 plus 1, it equals 90. Now I can check, this is 108. This right here is going to be 78 minus 1, that's 77. And this one right here is going to be 86 minus 1, so that's going to be 85. Now, just for kicks, I'm going to add them all up, make sure they add up to 360. So bring out the calculator here. I'm going to go 108 plus 90 plus 85 plus 77. Ta-da! You know you have it correct. 360. So angle x is 90 degrees. It says find the measure indicated in each parallelogram. Let me just draw a parallelogram here. And remember, the qualities of a parallelogram are OCD. And they stand for opposite sides parallel. So we have parallel. They also stand for opposite sides congruent. So hatch marks. Also stands for opposite angles congruent. So sweep, sweep, opposite angles congruent. Consecutive angles are supplementary. That means consecutive angles add up to 180, Last one, diagonals bisect. Means when you draw in the diagonals, you got a midpoint going both ways. Those are your qualities of a parallelogram. Now, let's see what's coming into play in number 23. I'm going to pause, let you write that down. Number 23, we're dealing with angles, not sides, so I'm going to look at these two specifically. I know opposite angles are congruent, and consecutive angles are supplementary. These guys are not opposite, they're consecutive, so they are supplementary. So I know something plus something equals 180. Be careful, don't just automatically make things equal. So here, circle plug chug, my first something is going to be 15x plus 5 plus 20x equals 180. I like to circle my x's and collect them, underline my non-x's, so I have 15 plus 20, that's 35x plus 5 equals 180. Minus 5, 35x equals 175. I'm going to divide both sides by 35. Pretty sure the answer here is 5, but we'll double check. I have 175 divided by 35. That's 5. Warning, x is not what we want here. X equals 5. Look very carefully. Don't just get all happy when you get the variable. On a multiple choice answer, guaranteed the variable will be one of your answers, but it's wrong if that's your final answer. Your final answer says find measure angle D, so that's this puppy over here, which is the same as this angle over here. That was 20 times 5. This angle was 20 times 5, which is 100. So that's 100, which means angle D, with what we want, is 100 degrees, because opposite angles are congruent. So be very, very careful in multiple choice problems that you ask yourself what is being asked for. Here, in a multiple choice problem, 100 is the correct answer. But guaranteed in a multiple choice that x equals 5, that 5 there would be one of your options, but it would not be correct because it is not the ultimate question. So always be very careful and box or highlight what is the ultimate question being asked when you're doing multiple choice. Trapezoids. Couple facts about trapezoids. In a trapezoid, your median, which is connects the midpoints, that's your median. It equals the average of the bases. So let's write this equation in the margin. Median equals the average of the bases. So one base plus the other base over 2. There's your equation. Median equals base plus base over 2. Here, remember, what is the ultimate question? The ultimate question is to find the median. X is not the ultimate question. Be very, very careful. So, we come over here. We're going to circle plug chug. Median. Median. 11x plus 2 equals base. Base. 19 plus other base, 15x minus 1 over 2, over 2. Put this over 1. Now we cross multiply. So I have 2, 11x plus 2 equals, I'm going to collect like terms to make it easier. I'm going to go 19 minus 1 is going to be 18 plus 15x. Pause and let you catch up. This is 22x plus 4 equals 18 plus 15x. Now we're going to get our x's to one side. So I'm going to minus 15x. I'm going to get my numbers to the other. So I'm going to go minus 4, minus 4. These cancel, that cancels. 22 minus 15 is 7x. 18 minus 4 is 14. Of course, we divide by 7. And x equals 2. Yay, you solved for x. Careful, you're not done. Remember, our ultimate question is to find the median. Always ask yourself, what is the ultimate question being asked? Our median's right here. So to find the median, we have to plug it in. 11 times 2 plus 2. It's 22 plus 2. So the correct answer, if this were a multiple choice test, would be 24. Okay, what else do we know about trapezoids? A couple things. Whenever you have a trapezoid, there's your parallel lines. These angles here that are connected, those red angles, are supplementary. Those orange angles are supplementary, which means these angles add up to 180. Now, if it's an isosceles trapezoid, where the legs are equal, the base angles are also equal. So here, those green angles would be equal, and those blue angles would be equal. So hatch, hatch, double hatch, double hatch. But still, even in this case, these two angles would add up to 180, and these two angles would add up to 180. So let's look at what we have here. Ask yourself, what are you trying to find? It says, find the measure of the indicated angle. So let's look at the indicated angle. That's right there, that angle. Okay? So we're right in this scenario where these two angles must add up to 180. So this is an easy one. We simply do 180 minus 94. And you get 86. And you double check, is that what we wanted? There's nothing else? Angle indicated? And the correct answer is 86 degrees. It says, find the interior angle sum for each polygon. Round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So what do we want? We want the sum of the interior angles. So we write the sum of interior angles, sides minus 2 times 180. So now we count the sides. Remember, do not trust your eyeballs. Put your pencil there. Walk it around. Don't trust your eyeballs. Physically touch each side. So we count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a heptagon, which means n equals 7. So the sum of the interior angles is going to be 7 minus 2 times 180, 5 times 180. The way I do this is 5 times 100 is 500. 5 times 80 is going to be, 5 times 8 is 40 with a 0. So my answer here is 900. technically degrees. So that would be the sum of the interior angles of a heptagon. Let's take a look at what we have here. It says find the measure of one interior angle of each polygon. Okay, so we remembered the sum of interior angles, sides minus 2 times 180. The sum of exterior angles will always be 360. Each angle of a regular polygon, sum over sides. Ain't this fun, the sum of interior angles, sides minus 2 times 180. So let's look at what we want here. We want one interior angle. So that's this right here. One interior angle equals sum over sides. Problem is we have two sums, so we have to decide which one we want. And this is why it's important for you to finger track, read, and underline, because if you miss this one tiny little word, you're going to miss which one to use. It says the sum of the interior angles, so we're right here. So our sum is n minus 2 times 180 over the number of sides, which is n. Now, physically track your pencil around. Pencil there. Walk it around with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's an octagon. So we go 8 minus 2 times 180 over 8. This is 6 times 180 over 8. I'm going to break it down here to make it easier. 6 is 2 times 3 times 180. I'll just do this. 2 times 90. And then down here, it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2. 2's cancel. 2's cancel. 2 goes in here, 45. So basically, it's 3 times 45, which is 135. So a single angle in a regular octagon interior is 135. Number 34, it says, find the measure of one exterior angle. So each angle is sum over sides. We have one exterior angle. The sum now is 360 over n. We count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a pentagon. So this one's easy. It's just 360 divided by 5. So I'm going to go 36 times 2 times 5. That's 36 times 10 over 5. 5's cancel. 36 times 2 is 72 degrees. So one exterior angle is 72 degrees. 72 degrees. 72 degrees. 72 degrees. 72 degrees. It says, state all possible names for each figure. Now this is critical. It says all possible. So we're looking at the quad family tree. So you need to make sure you state all possible names. Okay, so first off, this shape is a quadrilateral. So I'm just going to call it quad. Now you ask yourself, what else is it besides a quad? Now, opposite sides are not congruent, so it cannot be any parallelogram. So parallelogram, and every descendant of a parallelogram is off limits. It does not have a set of parallel sides, so it can't be a trap. The only thing left is that we have consecutive congruent sides, and if you draw on the diagonals, they'd make a right angle. It is also a kite. So the two it qualifies for, number 36, is it's a quad and it's a kite. So you need to name all possible classifications here. Last one says find the distance. Find the distance. So let's write the distance equation. Distance equals giant square root. Subtract the x's, squared, subtract the y's, squared. So now we need to find our coordinates here. So there's one coordinate there and one coordinate there. This coordinate is -5, -3. This coordinate here is +1, -4. So I make my template, distance equals, we make a template. Very important you make a template here. That helps catch those double negatives. Pause and make a template. Now we circle plug chug. So I'm going to come up here, I have an x, I pick up this x, I'm going to go left to right, so I have -5. And the other x, 1. I pick up this y, I'm going left to right, -3. Pick up this y, -4. Okay, now we can work it out. -5 minus 3 is -6 squared. This is a double negative, so that becomes positive. -3 plus 4 is +1 squared. So I end up with 36 plus 1. So the distance equals √37. Now it doesn't clarify whether it wants decimals or radicals, so you'll just have to look at the multiple choice, which one's being provided. Generally the radical form is preferred, but here's the decimal just in case, 37 square root, approximately 6.1. Now go back, finish the rest of the problems, and then turn to this page and go flip back and correct every correct problem. Mark it with a star or smiley face, incorrect check mark, and if it's incorrect, you must revise the problem in red pen if you expect to get full credit.